All right, let's turn attention to other stories now, and this one would really concern even the housewife at home, especially at this time when, celebrations and all of that. Yes, and what is it? The price of gas, kerosene and diesel going up. Now, Nigeria does not import cooking gas, unlike kerosene and diesel. Gas is produced locally and to a large extent not traded in foreign currency.
The prices of these domestic sources of energy continue to soar. We wonder why.
According to the latest data from the Department of Petroleum Resources, Nigeria's gas reserves life index stands at 79 years, counting from January 2015. The country has 188 trillion cubic feet in gas reserve as at 2015. Against this backdrop, experts under the umbrella of the Nigerian Gas Association decided to identify challenges and reevaluate developments in the industry.
I would, however, argue that we've really not put gas where it should be. We've tucked it in the overall oil and gas scheme. And I think what's, as you saw from the presentations, is that it needs to take its own unique position. And you could actually build on it and pretend for a minute that we're a nation without oil and a nation with abundance of gas. Even that would invoke a new policy regime that will be specific to gas.
Gas has a multiplier effect on the economy. When there is power, the industries are working, a lot of people will get employed.
Conference delegates discuss loss of revenue to government due to continuous flaring of the product.
Flaring of gas has reduced substantially in Nigeria from, let's say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So less gas is being flared in Nigeria today, and that's a good thing. The problem is that a lot of gas is flared simply because to harness that gas which is being flared costs a lot of money. NNPC is not paying its cash call. I think you heard the sum of $7 billion is owed by NNPC towards the joint venture partners. Because of that, they can't undertake all the projects required to harness associated gas, which is the gas you see being flared. But things are being done. Other people are coming along who are looking at how to monetize associated gas.
Participants at the event emphasized the need to reposition the nation's natural gas sector to support a cleaner environment for economic growth.
right, moving on now to our next big story, and it really is big. We're talking about the price rising cost of gas, diesel, and of course kerosene, where you find long, endless queues, especially for kerosene, which is what the larger percentage of Nigerians actually use in their homes. Well, we have oil and gas expert Ken Abazie, who's joining us right now. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
Okay, yes, we have laid the background to this. The price of kerosene, also known as DPK, diesel, is going up. Gas, cooking gas, has gone up 12 kgs, now about somewhere around 4,000. In some cases, it's even more than that. What exactly is responsible for this? Is it that deregulation is not making much impact in these areas?
Well, it's good to be here to talk about this. And one thing you must understand is that you cannot separate any of them from the other. They all belong to the energy group, and then we need to have the sources of energy. How is it coming up now? And I want to also say that it's not true that we have deregulated, really. So to say that we have deregulated or it's not having effect is not actually the issue there. Because NNPC have not come out to say we have deregulated in any case. So what we have come to see in the last few weeks is what they call price liberalization and price liberalization of petroleum products. And so I want to go by their words of price liberalization. But at the end of the day, I must say two of them achieve the same thing, whether you're talking of deregulation or you're talking of liberalization. But the word deregulation is not favorable to people in power, and so they've not deregulated. But all we know that we're moving towards the pathway of price liberalization. And what are we talking about? In price liberalization, it's expected to be a process where investors can have good return for their investment. And that's what we've been saying all this while, because until you remove those bottlenecks that you want to remove from deregulation, bottlenecks that hinder free playing ground for investors and being able to return their investment, because you have caps, you have restrictions, you have policies that restrict.
But in the case of kerosene and diesel, I think we can safely say government in the past had used the word deregulation, particularly that of diesel.
Yes, diesel
They've
has
used
been
the word
deregulated.
deregulated.
And so diesel comes in at the price of the open market, so it has to be competitive from what you get in the market. But you also know that these things come from outside. We import everything. Nigeria uses about 45 million liters of PMS, and yet not more than 8 million of them is produced in Nigeria. So everything comes in, and the same thing happens to AGO. So we are bringing in all these things, and you cannot diverge it from what has happened in the forest. At the same time, you are liberalizing the price of petroleum product, and we also liberalize forests. And so people need to start sourcing the forests in the open market.
But with the new CBN policy now, one expects, because according to the CBN, with their special intervention, the backlog of the forest has been cleared, and it's more open now to the forces of demand and supply. So the marketers shouldn't have problem accessing forest together.
No. Before now, in the last 8 months, it was difficult accessing the forest, even when you had the money.
Indeed.
Now, government came in to say, okay, some products you're not listed, some products are listed, some products we can fund, and then you can use 197, which was the government regulatory price. Acceptable. But then the limit, the number and the volume that you can access without 197 was a problem. And that's where we came from. And now you have a problem where, okay, the exchange have moved from 197 to about 280. You need to access this fund. You need to have it. I need to go to market to bid only on a daily basis to get this fund in. So the volume you can get at any time affects the volume that comes into Nigeria. And also that also have an impact on the volume you can bring in, because the exchange has gone up from 197, where the marketers were assessing before, to 280.
Yes, indeed. We know that. We have heard reports that now that PMS seems to be how should I describe it now? It's the main thing. Many marketers, I mean, you're a player in that sector.
Yes.
Many marketers, independent marketers, DAPMA inclusive, are actually focusing more on PMS, and so they have, relegated kerosene and even AGO to the background, and that's why we're having this situation right now.
No, if you're in business, you're in business
Because they are getting forex for PMS anyhow.
No, the forex is there in the market for anybody to get.
No.
It's not being allocated as it used to be. The volume is also not being allocated. The fund is not being allocated. So you go sourcing for forex and use it, of course, for every businessman, you put it at the best place you can get returns for your money. And that's what's happening. Because we want a free market system. And so that people, a lot of things have happened in the last 3 weeks. And I know that what I need to tell Nigerians is to take it easy. Things will stabilize. There have been a lot of speculative reactions to what is happening, either the forest, the Brexit, and even the new forest liberalization. But it's going to stabilize, just like we said in PMS, it's going to stabilize. It may not necessarily have to be at 145 naira. It will stabilize. But a lot of things have come to hit the polity now and even the market. So the price of today cannot be the price that we must project. It's just the beginning of a process that will just commence.
Yeah, because some have actually complained that before, since the liberalization, there hasn't been any price update coming from the PPRA. Perhaps that's what is affecting the importation of diesel and kerosene. Is it?
Yeah, before the liberalization, what NNPC tried to do was to bring in the products themselves. And you want to bring in product, and it's going to cost now, it was costing about 1.85 billion naira on a daily basis for NNPC to bring in these products. And you can't bring all the product that Nigeria had to use. And that was the problem. Now, but now they've thrown it open, and people are trying their hands to assess. You're talking of quantum of volume to bring in, and it takes time. For these products to come in, it's not something that comes overnight. There have been a backlog of problems which will continue to. You remember in the last 2 months, the Honorable Minister was saying it, from the month of May, June, things will start easing out. We know in the next few weeks to come, price will continue to stabilize and volume will continue. And this price, even for price of gas, as you said, and AGO, will come down.
Okay, we hope so, but let's give our viewers some quick facts about these domestic energy sources. Nigeria has an estimated 190 trillion standard cubic feet of proven gas reserves, and the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, that's the NLNG Limited, supplies 80% of cooking gas consumed in the country.
Nigeria has the least percentage consumption of liquefied petroleum gas in sub-Saharan Africa, despite having the largest gas reserves. Nigerians currently consume 385,000 metric tons of gas per annum, up from the 2013 consumption of 250,000. That's according to statistics from the Nigeria Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association.
Now, the cooking gas market witnessed a sharp inflation in the price of liquefied petroleum gas from 2.4 million naira per 20 metric tons to 3.5 million naira in May 2016. Today, a 12.5 kilogram cylinder of gas, which used to cost between 2,500 and 3,000, now costs between 4,000 and 5,000 in some cases. Now, let's come to Ken Abazie. Looking at kerosene and gas, there was some kind of campaign to discourage the use of kerosene because of the environmental impact, you know, in favor of gas. Should we be focusing even more on that?
Well, the direction to go is to use the cooking gas, that's LPG, as it's supposed to be called, and that's what we're supposed to use. And just like we know, Nigeria has the greatest reserve in Africa, and yet we're the least in per capita usage of LPG in Nigeria.
It's amazing, and one wonders what's responsible for that.
And that's why we've been particular in that direction, asking the Nigerian government to have a very robust cooking gas usage policy. Now, you have gas, and most of it, you are not tapping it. We don't have the resources to tap it. We don't have the infrastructure to use it. Now, it's not a matter of having LNG there, getting this gas out. But gas needs to be moved to house, needs to be moved closer to the people that use the gas. We don't have the infrastructure laid out to you. Me and you can drive to a filling station and get PMS and keep going. Now, but you can't easily do that for LPG. you need to, almost like traveling. Some people, sometimes you have to travel up to 200 kilometers to access a refill. And until you have those infrastructure, in place, the per capita usage of LPG cannot improve. I also know very, very well in this country that a lot of people have this phobia for gas. There are some houses, the landlords will not even allow you to bring in cylinders to their
because of the hazard associated
because of the
with
associated or the phobia or the hazard.
But you have kerosene explosions and all of that.
So, but people are more used to kerosene because over time, but we know that these are not very healthy source of domestic energy generation. And so you must get to the extent where people more use it, but government has to do much more.
Well,
you have to do much more in campaign.
But so imagine that if this campaign, according to you now, is well taken and accepted by Nigerians, where a majority of Nigerians now use cooking gas, how many of them can afford to buy the cooking gas at the rate at which it is right now? Don't forget the inflation rate as of last month is 15.7%.
Now, let me tell you, because we have constricted infrastructure on gas, it also affects the cost of it. In a situation where you don't have storage facilities for gas around you, people travel, and the person that takes that gas to you have to impute his costs. And that is what we are saying. We want a situation where government makes it a policy where petrol filling stations have refill plants for LPG, and which means that you get it closer. And by the time you expect, it's a matter of demand and supply.
It will be cheaper? Will it be cheaper if you get it closer?
Down. But those infrastructure needs to come closer. The further away, you are talking of 3,200 to refill 12.5 in Lagos.
It's even 4,000 now.
Now go to Kano. And all this LPG are carried from here to Kano. You will be talking of 4,200.
A lot more.
A lot more. A lot more.
Now speaking of infrastructure, I mean, I know in places like the UK, you have the pipes right to your kitchen.
I know.
Yes.
Yes. Now that
Is
one,
that the kind of infrastructure we should be looking at?
That one is even more expensive. You're even talking of less than 5,000 pipes of petroleum product that is being busted that we cannot manage in the country now. And you're talking of LPG pipes.
Laid to people's houses.
across this country. That is enormous, the investment. What we have now is what we call LPG bridges or bobtail. And these are 20 empty bridges that carry LPG from storage facilities to where you have refill plants. And they're all scattered around the country. And you can imagine 20 empty gas being hauled around. And you're hauling it to the next filling plant that is maybe 700 kilometers away. There are no pipes laid for gas as we speak. And so they are hauled by bridges. And these bridges have to use their AGO.
The diesel.
The diesel. And the diesel have gone up. And you have to impute this cost on the LPG.
So it's a ripple effect, really.
So it's a ripple effect of what has happened in the land. And that's why I said a lot of it are speculative. A lot of it are because we are trying new things. Because of these two policies that came almost at the same time. Things will settle down. Things will really settle. But it's not going to be as it was before. Never.
Now, speaking of supply, you have a situation where the NNPC supplies a large chunk of this, products we're talking about. Should that really be the case? No, otherwise, we'll continue to see this situation. Exactly.
Before now, you had a situation where the government was supplying more than 85% of the product we're talking about. Because the forest was scarce, you can't get it. And the 197 they made available was not available to everybody. So, and we had queues all the way. And government stepped in to bring in these products. But as I said, very huge, about 1.58 billion naira on a daily basis. Government can't cut. Government has no business, really, bringing in products. Of course, think of our nation. You can say, okay, 10-20% strategic reserve of those products, fine. But not talking of 80% of daily usage of product, government bringing it in. And then it's going to cost you about 2.1 trillion naira on the year. And this is money we're going to draw from the budget. How much was our budget for this year? If we have to use 2.1 trillion alone, drawing for that product, it means that it's an unnecessary effort. Okay. We would have saved this country that money, just like kerosene before now. We are talking about kerosene. Government was spending about 450 billion, to subsidize kerosene that was not getting to the people. And when they moved the price up a little bit to reduce the subsidy, this subsidy should have been used. What you have saved from that subsidy should have been used to channel to improve the infrastructure on LPG. And that's what we are saying. In all the campaign we've been, put this in on LPG infrastructural development. As we speak now, there's only one cylinder making LPG cylinder manufacturing company in this country. And the cylinders will need to come from outside. And if the cylinders are being imported, you're talking of a situation where the forests have also gone up. All these things will ripple effects on what you are going to get at the end of the channel.
Okay, let's quickly look at this, the template of the PPRA when it comes to this price liberalization. Some have argued that what they use, the benchmark they use, permit me to try, and that the benchmark they use has to do more with what they call higher NWE plate gasoline bought by the European buyers. That, but what we actually get is not at this particular quality. That the particular, let me try and rephrase, the quality, the benchmark, the quality used for the benchmark, which is what is obtainable more in Europe, is not what we get here in this part of the divide. And the price disparity of that benchmark and what we actually get in reality, it's really different. And that, of course, is affecting the price of the commodity that we get here in Nigeria.
Again, I want to take us back. What we believe from the sector, from the downstream, is that people should be allowed to bring in products. You don't want to do a price liberalization that has a cap. Now, if you look at the template, there are a lot of things built in there which we are not even supposed to be. Now, PEF is there. What they call, whether you want to call it PEF or you want to call it a bridging, transportation is there, and all these things are there. And they've sat down to have this policy, and they said from between 135 to 145. And we are saying, you're not funding these importers. You're not making foreign exchange available to them. You're not going to be the one to transport this product for them. And you have said it shouldn't be more than 145. Now, if I'm getting my product from Russia, or if I'm getting from Saudi or wherever, you don't expect the prices to be the same. The prices cannot be the same. And we want a situation where, because the quality, as you are saying, of this product are not also the same. There are a lot of variables that you must allow to play out. There should be a situation where I want this grade of PMS, I should go to this filling station and get it, and the price is maybe 125. I want a grade A level of PMS, I should be able to go to this particular station and get it, I'm ready to pay for 150. So, but government, in its own cautious way of approaching this deregulation, I know we're on a pathway, but it's even good that we are here. But
now, so some industry players, you know, like yourself, are saying that maybe there's a need for government to look at this deregulation again, or, well, liberalization, as the case may be, because there are some marketers who are actually, you know, taking advantage of some loopholes, you know, to cash in on, you know, taking advantage of the situation. What are these loopholes, if there are any, that you can identify for us?
Now, what we are saying here is that there's no economy that runs on full deregulation, we all know. So we can understand from the point where government is coming from to protect. But there are things you must also allow market to play itself out, and that's what we are saying. Now, government should not...
It's actually selling at 140.
So, but I know if the price was left open, some people could even sell for 125 or 130. All
right, Ken Abaze, we'll have to put a hold on that for now. All right, you're welcome back. Our guest is still in the studio, Ken Abaze, Chairman, Petroleum Downstream of the LCCI, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. At this point, let's bring you some further insights. The Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited says the price hike is as a result of shortage of terminals for the discharge of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, storage facilities at the terminals, and delays in getting the product from the terminals. Now, Ken, there are reports that the NNPC may have halted petrol supply to depots due to vandalism. That is a major problem in itself. How can government really check this issue of vandalism?
Well, it's a problem that we need to look at, and because I believe in constructive engagement of these people. These are facilities we have laid in over 50 years ago. And so the facilities have been there. And I believe we can engage these people. I believe we can engage the militants. And I believe we can talk this across the table.
But these people are largely faceless. And it's interesting you even talk about the age of some of these pipelines. I mean, about 50 years. We've heard reports that in many cases it's not even about vandalism, but the age of these pipelines.
Yes, the infrastructures have all decayed, and so it's not a good one. But it's even more worrying that they are being blown up now by people. We are talking of a situation where we don't have money to lay new ones, and the ones you have been blown up. And it's not even blowing them up that is the problem. We have environmental challenges that are coming out of these activities. And that's where the bigger concern for the health of Nigerians. Because the more they blow these pipes up, the more the environment is challenged very seriously.
All right.
And I believe we can engage these people.
Okay.
I believe in speaking to them.
All right. Okay, so back to the issue of the liquefied gas we're talking about. There have been allegations that PPMC is culpable in this matter. There's some staff of the PPMC diverts this gas to some private terminal instead of taking it to where it should be distributed to the people.
Well, I'm not aware of any diversion by
Okay.
PPMC staff, but what I know, just like LNG said, the problem we have basically in LNG, in gas in Nigeria, is lack of basic infrastructure, especially the storage facilities in gas. And so LNG being the only one playing that part, and then getting this gas to come into the storage facilities that are also limited. As we speak now, we don't have up to 4 LPG storage facilities in this country, and becomes a problem, a challenging one.
But if you're producing and you're complaining that you don't have a storage facility, then there could be room for some sharp practices. You don't agree?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. There could be room for sharps, but I don't know who. What I'm saying that the basic problem is that the terminal storage facilities for gas in Nigeria is very, very limited. It's very limited, and LNG spends more than 70% of the gas it produces outside the country. It sells it out. We don't have. Yet we are less than 1.1 kg per capita usage in Africa.
Is it that government is not making it attractive, for investors to even look at, storage facilities for this gas?
Because you need to have those storage facilities. You need to have it scattered around the river, right? So that from there we can take it up to the hinterland. But as we speak, we have none. Most of them are in Lagos here. 3 of them are in Lagos. The one in Port Harcourt is not operating. And so most of the gas have to be trucked from here to mainland, to hinterland.
And trucking has its own
especially
challenges.
In the last 3 months, you have, at the peak of those crises, most of the time they were not even allowed to come into belt because you have PMS, because there was an intervention on PMS. And so you have gas lined up there and they cannot, so they lose days. And as soon as they keep on losing days to come and belt, the scarcity you have here, and
most of the trucks use diesel. Most of those trucks that move
they
them,
use
so
diesel.
we have scarcity of diesel, and of course they cannot transport
but basically the major thing is LPG storage facilities in this country. It's not there at all.
All right, let's continue with the statistics. The NLNG also pointed at hitches in areas such as transportation of gas from the NLNG's base in Bonny, Rivers State to Lagos, and distribution of the product to consumers.
Some marketers of the products have accused the pipelines and product marketing company PPMC and of major LPG marketer of diverting vessels belonging to the Nigeria liquefied natural gas instead of allowing it to discharge at PPMC jetty for all the marketers to receive supply. You said you don't know about
there's some kind of infraction in that area.
Indeed.
So, how do you check this? You are saying you're not even aware that there's such a diversion going on.
No, it's not diversion per se, and that's what I'm saying, because we have limited allowance for you to bring in this gas through the terminals because the storage is limited. And so when you bring it in, everybody comes for it, everybody struggles to have it. But if you have a lot of terminals open for people to bring in this gas from Bonny, now you will have all those infractions. And that comes down to the basics. Nigerian government encouraging investors to invest in storage facilities and terminals.
When allegations like this are made, in fact, the marketers made mention of a particular company. I probably won't want to mention it. And there hasn't been any denial from the PPMC staff, not the particular company in question.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't know in any case. I'm a player, so I don't know of any diversion. But we bring in, we go to buy the gas, we go to get, when the thing comes in from the terminal, we go to get the gas to distribute to the people.
All right, so, well, according to the World Bank report, more than 70% of Nigerians use kerosene in their homes for either cooking or powering their lanterns, among others.
the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency in January 2016 increased the price of household kerosene from 50 naira to 83 naira. Now, the price of kerosene used by a majority of Nigerians for cooking has risen to as much as 200 to 300 naira per litre in many parts of the country.
Now, 1 gallon of kerosene that was sold for 500 naira now goes for as much as 1,200 naira. The price of diesel has also risen from about 105 to 110 naira per litre to between 185 to 200 naira. The upward swing in price partly owes to the rising price of crude oil in the international market and the failure of local refineries to meet their production target.
And many oil importers no longer import kerosene, thereby making the few liters available very expensive. It is alleged that kerosene marketers have refused to get involved in the importation of kerosene due to foreign exchange constraints. The National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria spent 20.2 trillion naira on importation of petrol, diesel and kerosene between January 2010 and September 2015.
I mean, it's amazing, Ken Abazie. Kerosene is used by, well, the less privileged people, the poorest of the poor. And you have a situation where they have to spend so much, you know, to buy this product that's very scarce now. And why are marketers, you know, really shying away from, you know, bringing in kerosene?
Now, it comes back to what I've said before. The kerosene you are talking about needs to be imported. And I said in the last 3 weeks, the importers and the business we have, the economy have been reacting to the recent policies. And I said it will take time for these products to come based on the new products. And what you have now is that we have limited quantity of it available for people to buy. And those people that have it, presumably, are putting up the price. But I said it cannot be the price. Looking forward, the price will stabilize and they're going to come down. When the new products start coming in.
So can there be some kind of intermittent measure before the price come down? Because the effect is biting hard on Nigerians.
But it all depends on the product available, the volume of product you have available. If there are no volume available, and so everybody struggles for it.
Okay, so it means Nigerians are still going to struggle, you know, queuing for kerosene. That's,
so you can imagine the inflation rate for this month then, because by the time you calculate the price, the CPI index is going to shoot up.
Shoot up, indeed. Indeed. All right, Ken Abazie, Chairman, Petroleum Downstream of the LCCI. Thank you so much for being part of TVC Breakfast this morning and educating us on this. Let's take a look at what weather looks like this Thursday morning. It looks like it's been drizzling, at least it was on my way to work. I don't know what the situation is now, but you find out.